So join me, Gasho, please. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. Namanda Butsu. All right. So I just want to share that Shinran's interesting thought about neither a monk nor layperson or layman. Have you ever heard this verse and phrase? I'm not a monk, and I'm not even a layperson. Who is that Shinran then, right? So I found a very interesting article written by Dr. and Reverend Mark Uno way back to 2017, Tricycle. The subtitle is The Original Buddhist Reformer. So Shinran was a reformer of Pure Land Buddhism. That's a very interesting reformer. How did he reform? Last Sunday or a couple weeks ago, I talked about eating meat, right? Meat. So to me is a two aspect interesting in Shin Buddhism: eating the meat and marrying as an ordained monk. Those two aspects made Shin Buddhism very special compared to other Buddhist sects. I'm talking about ordained ministers. So in Tendai or many years ago, they're not supposed to be married, but they did marry anyway. You know, they had a girlfriend and they had children, but they didn't really openly married. And they're not supposed to eat meat. But Shinran said, wait a minute, you know, we're all human beings, same people. So why not? So that's the interesting part. And now, Shin Buddhism now is to share the Buddha Dharma with not only ordained minister, with everybody in here. So, let me share this so that you have the little bit lengthy, but let me read and maybe we can have a little bit discussion and question answer at the end. So neither monk or layman, the original Buddhist reformer, Shinran, the founder of Shin Buddhism, broke the Japanese tradition to start a religious of radical egalitarianism that opened the benefit of Buddhism to everyone. Okay? So open the benefit of Buddhism to everyone. So before Shinran, much of Buddhism in Asia that was subscribed to a clear hierarchy that situated priest above layperson. Shinran broke with the tradition in two distinct ways. He was the first ordained Japanese priest to marry openly, and he was the first to act as a priest and simultaneously live as a family man, wearing robes and ministering to the laity, but absolutely refusing to live in temples. In looking back in his own life, he declared, I am neither a monk nor layman. His innovations in lifestyle and religious status opened the way for Shin Buddhism as radical egalitarianism, which didn't consider lay life to be an impediment to religious attainment and allowed women to be fully ordained earlier than many other schools. It was a path that could reveal possibility for the ongoing development of Buddhism in the West. Like his contemporaries, Zen Master Dogen of the Soto sect and Nichiren of Nichiren sect, Shinran began his career as a monk in Mount Hiei, the headquarters of dominant Tendai school. All three saw the Tendai ecclesiastical order as riddled by corruption, with too many monks who taught wealth and fame, and hid their wives and girlfriends while excluding women from sacred precinct of Mount Hiei. In 1203, Honen, a monk who had recently rejected the Tendai authorities, was teaching a new path of Pure Land practice in which lay people and the ordained were seen as equal on the spiritual path. This practice will be pursued by anyone, whether as an ordinary members of society, married with a family, or as a celibate renunciant. All that path was required was nembutsu practice, or chanting the name Amida, Namo Amida Butsu. Through this practice, Honen taught one could be fully embraced in boundless compassion. 2 decades into his monkhood in the Tendai sect, Shinran had a difficulty believing that such a path would work. To attain liberation, didn't one have to renounce this world, let go of attachment, and complete the difficult path of practice? Yet prior to his abandoning his official doctrines of the Tendai school, Honen had been one of the most widely respected monks of his day. So Shinran left there, felt there would be some validity of this new approach. Second page. At the age 29, Shinran entered into intensive retreat of Rokkakudo, a temple in Kyoto, in hope of receiving some kind of illuminating insight or vision. On the dawn of the 95th day of his 100th retreat, Kannon, the Bodhisattva compassion, Avalokite Teshvara, appeared to him in a dream and said, if your karma could lead you to transgress that precept against encountering a woman and joining with her, then I will incarnate myself as a jewel-like woman, adorn your life, and eventually lead you to the Pure Land. Awakening from the vivid dream, Oracle Shinran was convinced of the truth of the way being taught by Honen, became that ladder of disciple, and entered the path of Namo Amida Butsu. Like other single practice paradigms such as Dogen's Zazen, sitting meditation, and Nichiren Daimoku, which means chanting the Nammyo Horengekyo from the Lotus Sutra, Shinran's Nembutsu path focused on central, approachable practice. Honen practice, however, had not received official sanction to teach this path, new path of Pure Land practice. Eventually, Honen, Shinran, and other leaders of emerging movement were prosecuted by outlaw priests and had their status as ordained monks revoked and given lay names and were exiled into rural countryside. 2 of these priests were even executed, having been accused by breaking their vows with ladies of the court. Eventually, when things had died down, Honen, Shinran, and others were allowed to return. But by the time Honen was elderly and unwell, he passed away within a year. Shinran, meantime, had come to feel that the farmers, fishermen, and outcasts that he encountered in the countryside were more genuine and down to earth. They opened their hearts to the Nembutsu path of Amida's boundless compassion more readily than many of learned but Hippocratic very difficult words, isn't it? Ecclesiastic who seemed like the priest and ordained, seemed preoccupied with petty bureaucratic rivalities and then privilege of power. He decided not to return to Kyoto. First, next 30 years, Shinran lived and worked among the peasants. He never lived in a temple again. He married a woman named Eshini, and they became partners both in ministry and in life, raising 7 children together. She even had a dream that mirrored Shinran's own. In her dream, Shinran was an incarnation of canon, just she had fulfilled Shinran's dream oracle that he would meet the woman who would incarnate canon. Shinran's thought has continued to inform Buddhism in Japan and beyond, with such a concept of blind passion, foolish beings, and boundless compassion becoming part of the English language vocabulary of Shin Buddhist practice in the West. In Shin Buddhism, the person entrapped in the mental prison of his own making is caught in his own blind passion, called bonno in Japanese. Passion and desire, like words and concept, are not negative in and of themselves. It is only when we became obsessed by our idea about what we think we are and should be that we become blind to reality before us. Just as love must be allowed to unfold and cannot be focused, our broad experience of life and death can truly unfold only in the freedom of mutual encounter between us and the world, when we are no longer blinded by our desire to force things into mold that have been preconceived in our minds. One of the keys to Shinran's thought lies in the fact that he saw all beings as subject to blind passion, including ordained Buddhist monks and nuns. No one is entirely free of blind passion. No one is devoid of potential to realize liberation from their bonds. The encounter with reality, realization of emptiness, is described in Shin Buddhism as embrace of boundless compassion. In Japanese, mugai no daihi, muen no chi. Although emptiness, being beyond all distinction, is formless and characterless, the experience of being released from suffering over blind compassion into the vast, ocean-like emptiness is nonetheless experienced as a positive realization, what Shinran called entrance into ocean of limitless light, kokai of great compassion. Compassion suitably translates the Japanese Buddhism term jihi, as the former comes from the Latin com, with and passion feeling. Thus, compassion is feeling with the flow of reality, compassion that is boundless because it is beyond categorization, ineffable, inconceivable. The one who is fulfilled with blind passions is called foolish being, Japanese bonbu. And then embodiment and boundless compassion is Amida Buddha, blind compassion and boundless compassion, foolish being and Amida Buddha. They are terms of awakening in the daily religious life of Shinran's Shin Buddhist. Furthermore, these polar pairs are captured in the central practice of Shin Buddhism, saying or chanting the name of Amida Buddha in the form of phrase Namo Amida Butsu, meaning I entrust myself to the awakening of infinite light. This is our dance with reality, with ourselves, the rhythm and song of Namo. Our foolishness and Amida Buddha wellspring of boundless compassion that arises from our own deepest, truest reality. Ultimately, even the nembutsu arises not from ourselves, from our own ego, but is experienced as a call from deepest level of reality. from the depth of our own being, in which the flow of emptiness or oneness is realized in each manifestation of form and appearance. Thus Shinran states, true and trusting is Buddha nature. The movement of boundless compassion is also as a primal vow of Amida, in Japanese Amida no Hongan, the vow to bring all beings to realization of oneness spontaneously arising from the depth of existence. The nembutsu expresses our receiving the deep vow to liberate and realize oneness with all beings, because all beings are the self. It is expression of deepest gratitude that our lives are sustained within a larger web of interdependence. We are sustained by those who help provide for our livelihood, food, shelter, family, and friendship. And the deepest level, we are naturally moved to express our appreciation for shared suffering in life and death, our mutual illumination in foolishness, compassion. Our oneness is the path that takes us beyond life and death. This is Namo Amida Butsu. Shinran's statement, I am neither monk nor layman, comes at the very end of his major work, the Jodo Shinshu. It is a historical statement describing the circumstances of his teacher and himself in limbo, exile, defrocked, yet still ministering in the countryside. It is also a philosophical statement in keeping with a twofold truth, with emptiness as a basis of religious attainment, and is beyond all categories, lay and ordained. Ultimately, it is Shinran's own self-expression as a foolish being. I am not qualified to be regarded as a good monk or a good layman. Shinran's egalitarianism is rooted in the realization of profound oneness with all beings. It is radical in its inclusivity beyond words and the depth of self-awareness. Any criticism leveled in his contemporaries in his priesthood, as well as his fondness for peasants and fishermen, came from a place of inclusivity in which Shinran saw himself as the greatest of fools. In a time of great social and political turmoil, he expressed his criticism and advocacy alike from a place of great compassion. Perhaps there is something of value in this for us to consider today. It's a long article. It's a lot of things probably you might have to digest. That's what the Shinran thought about by himself. I am not a monk. I am not a layperson either. So his time is very rough, very rough. He got sent to far away from Kyoto because nembutsu persecution. So he and his teacher got exiled far away from Kyoto. And then Honen was a professional monk. He was able to say the nembutsu 1,000 times every day. But Shinran was different. He lived in village with the villagers. He was a farmer. He was working in the field. He was working on, clipping the trees. Maybe he was working with a fisherman along with villagers and all the people. So there, his understanding is a little different from Honen. But he realized, wait a minute, as I used to be a professional monk, but however, I see all the just regular people, villagers, they are very down to earth, and they really, really receive Amida Buddha's promise and vow sincerely, and they really enjoy hearing Buddha Dharma and hearing Namo Amida Butsu. So that makes Shinran thought about, wait a minute, wow, Amida's vows for everyone, right? So for me, is Shinran's stance is, Shinran always thought any possibility path that everybody can receive the Buddha Dharma, regardless you are ordained, not ordained, or you know, study or not, doesn't matter. So I really think this is the beginning of a layperson's Shin Buddhism started with Shinran's thought, neither monk nor layman. So now I'd like to open the question. Let's discuss about it.
My question is, when was his Buddhism called Shin Buddhism? When did it become called Shin Buddhism?
Oh, very good question. Shin Buddhism. In West, is SH, Shin, right? Shin is true, means true. True Pure Land Buddhist teaching. That's what it is. And why we call Jodo, original Japanese is Jodo Shinshu. Jodo means Pure Land, and Shinshu. So true and real teaching of Pure Land Buddhism. This is Jodo Shinshu. But the Jodo Shinshu came to United States about 120 years ago, and Jodo Shinshu, the term is long, right? It's hard. What do you say, J something, right? So instead, there is Zen Buddhism already here in this country, right? D.T. Suzuki introduced Zen Buddhism. Zen is sitting meditation, Dogen's, Soto Zen, and Rinzai Zen already existed here. That Zen, Z-E-N Buddhism. Okay, so versus Zen, we can call Shin, S-H-I-N, S-H-I-N, Shin. So we started calling true and real teaching of Pure Land Buddhism to Shin Buddhism.
Excuse me, did that suggest that previous Buddhism was not true or not real? And I'm guessing it was heavily criticized. And so did it set up a tension between, let's say, the Zen school and other people thinking or raising the question, what is true Buddhism or what is real Buddhism?
Well, that's a very interesting discussion from Zen to Shin, right? And Zen is, they do have their own practice. Why we have so many different sects in Buddhism? Because we all have a different practice. Okay, the goal of Buddhism is everybody has a potential to get enlightened and to become a Buddha. So the Buddhism is the teaching of to become a Buddha, right? The thing is, when you become a Buddha, when you get enlightened, that's the key. And how do you do it? How do you do it? That's the part is practice comes in, right? How do you do it, right? So for example, Zen practice, they have a meditation, and a sitting meditation. I don't know how many hours they meditate every day, maybe a couple hours in the morning. When I was in high school, I went to Kyoto Girls High School, and that was a Shin school, but they sent me to the Zen temple. It was a very interesting experience. 3 days we spent. So we got up 4:30 in the morning, and then right after I got up, and okay, wash your hand, the face and everything. Starting 5 o'clock, meditation, 2 hours until 7, and no breakfast, sitting 2 hours, and have breakfast, and then again is a lunchtime, and until lunchtime, we have to clean up the temple, everything. That's the cleaning part is also practice too. And after lunch, again, 2 o'clock, meditation. I was so sleepy. So I was just like swinging, like, And then the Zen priest came to me. Yeah, I have a problem because I'm sleepy. So he put the bar on my shoulder. That means I'm going to hit you. Wow. So I have to bow myself. And then he whipped the bar over my shoulder. Bashing. Ow. It didn't hurt me. Instead, I felt so good. I was like, oh, I woke up. Wow, thank you very much. I was sleepy, but now my sleep is gone. I said, oh, okay, now I can concentrate. That was tough practice, right? So Zen's purpose is by doing that kind of meditation, chanting, and cleaning up the gardens and temple, that's all your practice, particularly Soto Zen. Whatever you do everyday life, that's your practice. And then eventually you will be awakened while you're here. That's the practice. Time is here. So Shin is some of the people can do, but however, Shin Buddhism as vow itself is no problem. While you are alive, the most important thing is you come to the temple, listen to the Dharma, and awaken to the Buddha's, Amida Buddha's vow to you. Don't worry. You come as you are. You come with your blind passion, Bombu. That's the way all human beings are. So don't worry. Because better to have a blind passion, better to have Bombu, better to be Bombu, because that keeps you and makes you come to the temple. You'll be hungry to listen to the Buddha Dharma, and you'll be here and receive Namo Amida Butsu. That's the Shin Buddhism. Okay? All right. Okay. Tracy.
I'm very interested in Kannon, the Bodhisattva, and I noticed that in this article she is mentioned twice as having appeared to Shinran and maybe even Eshini. Is there any other places in our tradition where Kannon is mentioned or shows up as, is she any other part of our tradition other than having appeared to Shinran?
Yeah, thank you very much. Kannon, Avalokiteshavara, is one of the Bodhisattva, and then it appears pretty much in Buddhist sutras. Yeah, very famous. Is the Buddha of compassion. And then, Buddha is not man, not woman, no sex, nothing. But however, somehow Avalokiteshavara came from India and came to China, and Chinese people made a Avalokiteshavara Kannon as a woman bodhisattva. So women, raise up the children full of love, right? As a Buddha of love and compassion. So it's very famous. Starting from China to Japan, most of a Kannon is a woman. So Kannon also sometimes have 1,000 hands as well. You can see a statue sometimes when you go to a museum or go to Japan or China. Some of that Avalokiteshavara is a Kannon statue at 1,000 hands. What they do is they have some kind of, any kind of utensils, spoon, knife. You see, the mother always cook, right? Everything. As you can imagine your mother, or you remember your mother, grandma. Myself, when I'm off, I do a laundry first, and I do cooking, and I have to clean up the house. I have to vacuum the floor. I have to clean up my cat's litter. The 1,000 things one time. We do a lot of things. I'm sorry, a man does too, of course. But the women particularly, we are busy. So, the Bodhisattva, Canon Avalokiteshvara, has 1,000 hands, can do many, many things. Okay? So it appears most of the sutras, Bodhisattva. Okay? All right. Any other? Yes. Yes.
Sensei, I'm just curious how the people at the period of time when Shinran was around, how did they view Buddhism prior to him coming? Because it doesn't seem like it was really available to the layperson. It was more for the monks and maybe the elite. Like for me, Shin Buddhism helps me live my life. For them, it wasn't available. So how did they view Buddhism then? Were they kind of distant to it, or? I'm just curious.
Okay, well, thank you. There is a big distance. It's Buddhism as the enlightenment is probably pretty much the cluster of the professional monks and practicing in Mount Hiei. So Mount Hiei is just like a university. If you want to study Buddhism, and in Japan at that time, Shinran's time is the 11th century or 12th century, they all go to Mount Hiei, right? That's how they do it. So pretty much, how about villagers? How about fishermen? They are out of topic, and And then at that time, there was a epidemic illness, and then disasters, and natural disasters going on. A lot of people died, a lot, 1,000. A lot of people passed away. Those are the people that Shinran thought they don't have any chance to hear the Buddha's vow. That's not fair. So this is a big distance between Mount Hiei, kind of elite area, and the people living in the city of Kyoto and Japan all over. So it was not opened. It was not open at all. Some of the people, like Nara Buddhism is also, but again, it's pretty much the door was closed. But the Shinran and Honen started doing a Pure Land Buddhism in Japan, and lots of people started coming because they opened the Buddha Dharma and Amida Buddha's teaching to everybody, right? This is not only for elite world, it's for everybody. So pretty much, I think Shinran was also reformer, open the Pure Land Buddhism to laity and then laypersons, to everybody. Well, it was, pretty much not much. But Pure Land Buddhism is part of that Mahayana Buddhism. So I think really at Shinran's time is the Dogen, Nichiren, all the people is new Buddhism came out because that value sense was changed. Because before that, aristocratic world is very nice and quiet. 10th century is just like noble people living, right? But however, after that the society changed. Every time society changed, new religion comes out. So that's what the Shinran, Honen, and Dogen, and Nichiren came out and opened the door of Buddha Dharma to everyone. Okay, so now I think it's really a chance. This is a contemporary world, value changes. We are living in a new world. And I have confidence that Pure Land Buddhism is really, really can communicate every one of us, as long as we are human beings, because based on the humanity, Shinran's teaching, I think. Any other? One more question? Yes? Okay.
Dogen was meditation.
Right.
And Nichiren was the chanting of the Lotus Sutra.
Uh-huh.
So what is Shinran saying about the nembutsu, that by just chanting that, you will get enlightenment? Or can you explain a little more about that practice?
Thank you. Well, nembutsu, nen means, when you write in kanji, nen means think about Buddha. Ima, nen is heart and mind. Think about the Buddha. Which Buddha? Is for Shinran is Amida Buddha. So going back to that practice is a when you can get enlightened by sitting and visualizing the Buddha, you'll be okay. All right? Some of the people are very good at visualizing. Visualization means a meditation actually originated from that you visualize the Buddha's statue or how the Buddha looks like. Okay, he has a little bun here, 32 characteristic and more characteristics. So you memorize everything, the visualizing. And then eventually the Buddha came out in front of you. That's the enlightenment moment in Buddhism. But some of the people are good at it, but me, no, because I cannot even properly meditate. I got hit by the Zen Buddhist, right? So for the people, okay, Pure Buddhism, for the people who cannot really concentrate every moment. Doesn't mean we are inferior. That's the way we are, don't you think? Right? I cannot concentrate as a 15 minutes meditation. I always think about something else. So the Pure Buddhism for the people who cannot meditate properly. But however, you don't have to worry about it because Shin Buddhism and Pure Buddhism is for people who cannot do a meditation practice. But you can do meditation practice. For those people, you just hear Namo Amida Butsu and say Namo Amida Butsu. Say is important. So you think, okay, I'm saying Namo Amida Butsu. No, you have to hear Namo Amida Butsu. The process itself, because when you were born, I didn't know the word Namo Amida Butsu when I was born. And because I learn it. And then I hear it from the ear first, Namo Amida Butsu, and you receive it, Namo Amida Butsu, in heart and mind. And comes out Namo Amida Butsu from your mouth. See, this practice is another contemplation, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu. So that's the Shin Buddhism, nembutsu. Nembutsu means hearing, receiving, and you recite Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. How you receive Namo Amida Butsu, it's up to you. But Amida Buddha promised you, don't worry about it. Just come as you are. I will take care of you. No matter problem you have, no problem. You will be Buddha. You'll be get enlightened. I help you. Okay? But he said, just hear my name. My name is Namo Amida Butsu. You see, I'm Mutsumi Wandra. So just hear my name, Namo Amida Butsu, and receive it. And we say together, Namo Amida Butsu. That's what nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Is that okay? All right. All right. Any other? I'd like to continue, but thank you very much. I'm happy to share the talk in the future. All right. So, join me, Gasho, please. So, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu, Namanda Butsu.